Hello and welcome to the 8th and what might be the final episode of the boss tournament. We've gone through qualifications, 5 weeks of a group stage, and through one round of the playoffs, where now we're in the quarterfinals in the top 7, facing off against Pytrek to see who can get a better score. I should remind you that this guy is pretty good to say the least. And in order to advance to the semis, I have to best him in Elite Bloon areas here. Covered Garden is the map, with least tiers being the game mode. No Geraldo allowed, no Sentry Champion, Beast Handler, or Marine/Chinook. And most importantly, 0 Paragons allowed. Probably the hardest boss we've had to just even beat this far, because let me remind you about why Covered Garden is such a ridiculously tough map. If you place any tower under the window here, you cannot select them for 3 out of the 4 rounds. Which means you can't change targeting, or upgrade, or sell any of those towers. And worst of all, you can't even use turning buffs on it, like, say, Overclock, for example. And with every Paragon being banned, I figured the only way to actually beat Tier 5 is with the Vengeful True Sun God, the strongest non-Paragon in the game. Initially, I want the VTSG to see as much track length as possible, so I put it on water so that if I bring Brickle, I can buff the attack speed of the temple, but again, putting it anywhere on the water means I cannot use Overclock or Ultra Boost on it for most of the time. Which isn't like the most important buff on VTSG, but still, it was really annoying to work around Covered Garden's mechanics, so that is why, after extensive testing, I settled with a VTSG on the left side of the map, where I can always select it, and with Adora, so that, of course, we can get attack speed and range with her sacrifice ability. And despite an absolutely terrible position, I estimated that I would be able to beat all 40 million HP with a bunch of buffs stacked on the VTSG. So, all Ultra Boost, a Call to Arms, a Homeland, Permabrew, and maintaining Adora's attack speed buff. So that is the end goal. However, how do we get there? And this is where I tell you, and be honest with you, that out of all rounds so far, this is probably the most frustrating one to test and work out. Yes, even beating those timed boss rounds. Everything you're about to see in this run is the result of many iterations and making sure everything is perfect. And even with that, I gotta admit that I'm still not really happy with my overall strategy and the score I'm gonna get. But hey, hopefully other players will struggle with these restrictions. So from the top, we have to use a tier on the free Dart Monkey, which when that happens, you know the boss is tough. Although, don't worry, I still have a plan to make this Dart Monkey useful later, and then build into a 2-0-0 farm. From there, we now need some defense, or else we're going to lose too many lives, so I end up going for a 0-0-0 Ace. This is a tower that basically has full map coverage, and can save you a lot of lives, provided you micro correctly. So yes, I had to do some painstaking, annoying micro for many rounds here, to make damn sure that I saved as many lives as possible. Because the cruelest part about this challenge is the ban of the Marine. Usually the Marine is a very easy cop-out to gain a lot of money and lives. But now that that option's banned, I can't really gain lives effectively. And no Benjamin, so that's one aspect that made early game even more annoying. On round 17, after 2 farms, we can go for a 0-0-0 sub to add to our defense. And then after several really painstaking rounds, I was able to get the bank on round 23. And I come away through the early game ordeal with 61 lives, which ain't great, but ain't terrible either. From there, it's pretty simple. We just wait now until the bank is full. In the meantime, I do get a banana plantation, as I want to turn into a banana central later. And already around 33, do the wheels start falling off of my strategy. By that, I just mean it didn't feel good, but I'm gonna do a 0-0-0 ninja for the camos this round. And the craziest thing is, after this, I'm gonna sell it, yes. I wasted an entire tier just to beat camos this round, because I need every little bit of dollar that I can in the early game. This is because if I spent any more money or kept the ninja, then because I'm gonna buy IMF loan, I'm gonna deposit, but I can only deposit 4k. The more money I can deposit this round, the more I make several rounds later, so I just had to use a tier there to create out even more money. And now 2 rounds later, we can use our IMF loan to greet some more farms down. What I'm gonna do is a Bloon Trap. As to the camos on 36, well, yeah, that's why I need every life in the early game, because I'm going to take all of them. Now that puts us down to 2 lives. Yup. If Cover Garden wasn't Cover Garden, I could have saved a lot more lives by getting a Cleansing Foam, because I had the money last round. It's just the area wasn't available until this round. And I need the Cleansing Foam over here, because putting it over here would obviously mean that I can't get the money from camos on the trap. And I need the space reserved for here and here later. Anyway, IMF is full at the end of 37, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to deposit, collect to pay off all my debt, and then put in a very specific amount of money this round. My goal is to be able to get this IMF bank full again by the end of round 40, start of 41. So I'm going to spend money on a Blade Shitter, deposit again, and then deposit, and stop there. After 2 more rounds of doing nothing, we now have 7k at the start of Tier 1, and again, 1 round from this being close to full. I'm not overly proud of what I came up with to defend Tier 1, because 1, it's expensive, and 2, it uses a lot of tiers. So I'm gonna get a Super Maelstrom for all of the Bloonair's insides, yes, for Tier 1. Sounds pretty overkill, but you kind of have to unless you want to waste a bunch of money on tiers, and I'm already using a lot. So now we're gonna wait for round 40 to end, and then after that, I'm going to get my Bloonair's 50k HP defense. And that is going to be collect First Strike. I concluded that 5 First Strikes works. It is fairly cheap in tiers, and the money is very important because, as you see, I can't even afford Super Maelstrom right now. So right now, I need $2,000 so that I can take out a 10k IMF loan. And then, well, get Super Maelstrom. So wait, low now, First Strike. I gotta do this early. IMF now. And then there's the Maelstrom. And from here, keep depositing. Keep depositing until the bank is has enough money inside. Which I think if I math it out is approximately up until round 45. I'm just gonna spam the hotkey that I set for depositing. And we're gonna have to wait for 5 First Strikes before we can actually sell that to create more money. So again, I'm sure you can see why this is like, this feels so scuffed. It's 30k of defense, and I have to delay my farms until I use all of it, which is not until I think round 49. Anyway, we stop depositing right about now. 9k is the perfect amount if I want to cash out on, I believe, round 47. Now let me get off First Strike number 3. Combo with the Maelstrom. 46 has started. 1 more round, and we gotta get ready to collect. But before that, let me also plop a village down, because I'm gonna do this with that money. Okay, hear me out. IMF loan, 20k, 104 village, drop more money inside. Get up to $6,000, that's good. Use the durability so I don't die to ceramics. So the next First Strike will not completely kill off Bloonair's because it'll have 5k HP left, but it'll get through every skull. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sell the Bloon defense, aka the Super Maelstrom. However, there still is an issue of pink spawning from Bloonair's. Even though there's no skulls, it will spawn every 1% pink balloons. Which is simply put still an issue because I only have, well, 2 lives, so any pinks going through is bad. I have an idea in mind though, but it might be pretty scuffed. Anyway, I'm gonna wait for another IMF loan to come back up, use that to get a BRF this round. 49 is a little bit tough, so I'm going to spend money on an out buff for Adora. Also, 002 Ace all the way up here. I can't use level 3 ability on Adora because I need it for right here. See the pink spawning out? Adora has a lot of range, but we didn't get lucky. It worked in my testing, so hopefully we just get it again. Come on, come on. Shoot right. Shoot right. There we go. See? That's what we're talking about. Now I can sell that to get overclock. Now, this run I'm not going to take because I didn't do it perfectly, but I hope it gives you a good glimpse of what I was trying to accomplish here. Okay, I ran through Tier 1 just one more time, and the run was pretty much identical, except I made like $200 more, so worth. So everything you saw there was pretty much close to perfect. After this round concludes, we can collect from, again, from the IMF. And how far off are we from the next milestone? I need 35,000 for the big trap. Anytime now, come on. Perfect. Let's get in time for the 2 mobs to come in, so we can make money from that. And then back to depositing. Mission successful. So our next farm is going to be a big leap, the Banana Central. But because it's such a big leap, I actually have to go for my tier 2 defense first before getting Big Trap, I think. Oh, I also forgot to mention, I got Never Miss starting at round 50, so I could defend the Moabs before getting Big Trap. Much like tier 1, I struggled a lot to find something that could defend balloon areas for cheaply. And this time, I can finally save tiers, I think, on something. It's just very expensive. That ace I bought is going to be for, yes, Flying Fortress. That does require a colossal save up, and that means I delay my Banana Central for, like, what, another 10 rounds? But it must be done. Because I don't think I can survive balloon areas if I get this too late, or get this first. Wait for round 60 to end. By that time, we can collect from the IMF here. Come on. There we go. Perfect. Deposit back. Take out the loan. And there's that. And then, let us get Jungle Drums. If I get Jungle Drums and that's it, the 005 plane can solo tier 2. I don't even have to overclock it. I can just continue focusing on using overclock on BRF. And yeah, tier 2, with that said, should be pretty simple, even if the tower I'm getting is expensive. Like, I tried considering MAD, but with MAD, you have to get a lot of defense for the 8 BFBs that spews out. So many SRAM insides. I even tried stuff like Solver, but surprisingly, a 500 Solver was not able to beat all those BFBs. Much sad. We also do have a door level 10 now, so I'll use that time whenever possible. Just spam Ball Light for a little bit more DPS, so it's not as close. Alright, final stretch here. The way things are looking, I think I can get my Banana Central on round 70. I think in order to survive the last skull, I probably have to target the ace in the right spot. Right now, are you kidding me? That was unlucky. Literally one SRAM was the difference. But ideally, the aces leaned a bit or to the right as possible. Because if it's on the left side, it's almost certainly not going to hit the right target. So I need $105,000 to take out a loan and then get B Central. The sad thing about not being able to buy a larger surface area is I can't, like, explode the trap when I need it to. I just kind of have to hope that it explodes right now. Perfect. Oh my god. Wait, you couldn't have written that up any better. We had the ace in the right spot, so we beat the insides, and we got the trap explosion at the exact time to get B Central exactly the round I wanted to, alright? Things are looking up. But we're not out of the woods yet, because here's another issue. I would like to get the Ultra Boost on round 73. That's the next round that, like, I'm able to even click the overclock. If I miss that round, I don't get it in time, then my next time to upgrade to Ultra Boost is round 77. And I'd rather not lose 4 rounds of Ultra Boosting, because that could be a big difference in money by the end. So hopefully we, 1, get the IMF cooldown back up, and 2, make enough from said IMF to get Ultra Boost. It's not looking good, though. That's such a long cooldown for IMF. I need to hope for a lucky explosion for the trap, and that it's enough. Oh, come on. 69533. 71333. Ultra Boost. Give. Wow. I missed it. It didn't let me do it. I was off by $700. See what I mean when I tell you guys all the time, every dollar matters? Okay, let me redo tier 2 a couple times and hopefully I can squeeze out that difference. Narrator, he was not able to squeeze out that difference. I tried countless times and I was always 1k short every single time, so unfortunately, I had to spend 1 extra tier doing the following. Buy 015 trap so I can target it away from the entrance so that I can collect the last crate from the Banana Central. And that buys me enough time to get Ultra Boost before the round ends. Now can you see why this map is such an ass? Like, this normally wouldn't be an issue, but waiting 4 whole rounds for another upgrade is just brutal. To pour even more salt on the wound, buying Ultra Boost resets its cooldown entirely, so now I don't have any buffs at all on it for the first 35 seconds of getting Ultra Boost. Great timing. So that'll lose me a little bit of money this round, but again, getting Ultra Boost 4 rounds earlier will overall have more stacks in later rounds and then make up that lost money. Yep, we basically got a 3 Ultra Boost stack head start from getting on 73. And now in 77, we have an opportunity to upgrade the Alchemist, which I will do. Now we're going to get Permanent Brew because this is going to be our sacrifice to the temple. Remember, you need $50,000 worth of towers in 3 categories, and those 3 tower sacrifices are literally right next to each other right now. Ideally, I would have liked to get a max temple to start tier 3, but it's very expensive and I got my farming very late, so it might have to be a little bit into the round. And before getting temple, I'm also going to have to buy a Deadeye here. I want to use this ability to gain range. And now let me cook 9 Ultra Boost stacks. This may take multiple attempts, but you gotta bear with me here. This is just barely $50,000 worth of primary. And so is this. Super Monkey is going to be somewhere around here. I should have done this before buying the Super Monkey or dropping it down, but I'm going to use the Deadeye on the village to temporarily give it range so that I can make this a little bit cheaper. And as you see, now I'm just 20k short of Sun Temple, which we should afford very, very, very soon. In fact, just take out a loan and I'm pretty much there, so wait for 90k. Come on. Then I can also get the end of round bonus from round 80. So there. And temple. And here we go. Ooh, okay. My Desperado spot is actually not very good. Because here's the issue. I wanted to get the Desperado to get Golden Justice to sacrifice to the Vengeful True Sun God. I'm just gonna yap this attempt, by the way. So don't worry if I die, but as you see, getting Golden Justice for only 31k is bad, because now this does not make the sacrifice requirement needed for VTSG. I now have to drop another primary tower, which would add more tiers. I think a good alternative is maybe to put it here instead. So let me backtrack a couple rounds to do it here. Take 2, everything has been fixed. Let's get temple now, and immediately after getting temple, 2 things I have to do. Drop a village here, and let's, come on, get money for Easter Monkey. The reason is to block spots. As you see, my first Sun Avatar spawned right below. And that's because I didn't drop 2 towers in time. If I didn't drop the Super Monkey, then it would keep spawning here. But now that I blocked both the top and bottom spots, it's going to choose a 3rd spot, which is very useful. You'll see why in a bit, and that bit is right now. It might be hard to tell, but it's now on the right side of that middle spot. And now, let's use this time to get... Oh, crap. I hate everything. I'm pretty sure that this is $100 off of the sacrifice needed for a tier or the 50k. You've got to be kidding me. Now, that's due to the come on everybody knowledge that makes tier 3s to 5s cheaper if it's the only one. So I think what I gotta do is I gotta go back and buy a Bounty Hunter, like before sacrificing to a temple, which would put my temple a little bit further away to affording, but it is needed. In the meantime, whatever. Let me just show you what I have cooked up to defend tier 3. Now that I got Golden Justice, by the way, I can now actually buy Super Range. And the goal with Super Range is to hopefully sacrifice everything that I need, and also not touch some towers that I don't want sacrificed. This Super Monkey is also going to turn into a Legend of the Night, which I'm going to try to go for now, because I need it to defend. Now that we got 10x Ultra Boost stacks on this guy, I'm going to use some on the towers that I think would help. So Temple for one. This should be a set on Strong. Dark Champion can be afforded now, and Legend of the Night, I'm going to use the IMF loan to afford, so I need 122k. And okay, so my temple is not supposed to be in range of the engineer. The engineer, as you see, does not have any temple buff stack, so that's perfect. It means I don't sacrifice it, because if I sacrificed it, then I would have to buy back again, which would thus cost me a lot of tiers that I can't afford. Halfway now, those deities are looking awfully scary, but oh my god, the blades are coming in clutch. They parallel perfectly to the track. Where were you when that was actually useful? Anyway, loan, got legend, put it over here, and use it to defend. 3 skulls left. I can only buy range upgrade number 2 after getting a VTSG. Last skull. I might leak deities here. Yeah, they're really far forward. And there is the black hole coming in clutch. I still have to defend the BFB insides, or the bad insides. Thankfully, the cover guard inside opened up here, so come on. I'm gonna Ultra Boost stack it? Yeah, I might die there if I don't. Again, this doesn't matter because I'm going to go back to save 1 tier because my Golden Justice doesn't cost enough money. But this is kind of how my tier 3 kill is going to go. Hopefully, I have enough money to afford VTSG at the start of tier 4. If not, maybe I'll spend a couple more tiers on more upgrades, like Monkeynomics, I'm not sure. I must stress again that even despite extensive testing, my final strategy still isn't set in stone because there's just so much going on in this run to try to optimize that I kind of just want to drive off a cliff right now. While I was already in the process of redoing tier 3, I decided to try another cut, and instead of going Homeland, just go Call Arms, so save one tier that I guess makes up for buying 015 Trap. Now, obviously, it'd be more ideal if I didn't buy the Call Arms at all, but I needed the extra DPS this tier. Anyway, after buying the Anti-Bloon, we pretty much now have every ingredient needed to sacrifice for the Vengeful. We just need the money. Only 70k off, this is pretty good. Let's Dark Shift our Legend Knight away and play one round out. Remember, I can cash out for about 18k over here. So I really just need effectively 480k. Thankfully, Run 100's pretty fast, so Banana Central should give me all that money right now. Perfect. Collect. Take out this. Now let's make sure not to die to the inside tier. And bring it on. Just like I did for the tier 4. Quickly drop 2 villages to block the spot, and perfect. We turned it dark, turned it black, put it on strong, and remember, get the buffs back in. Because I sacrificed both villages, I have to go for Jungle Drums. But first point of business, get Homeland Defense, get Called Arms, probably a Perm Brew as well. Having VTSG as their only defense is really nerve-wracking, by the way. Like, you see so many cerams coming there, but again, the parallel blades to the exit are going to come in clutch. And if I can beat this tier without buying Perm Brew, this is good. This will keep my options open as for what to buy for tier 5. I'm most likely going to need P-Brew because P-Brew provides attack speed as well as more range, which you obviously need because, yeah, you see without buffs anymore, there's a lot of space where the VTSG cannot reach. It does seem like we're going to be able to beat tier 4 with plenty of time to spare, so easiest tier so far. And now we just got to see how little extra tiers I can add for tier 5. Again, at minimum, P-Brew will get us to like 120 something, but remember, to keep Adora's attack speed up, you basically have to sacrifice something every minute of in-game time. And I only have really one non-support tower to sacrifice, and that's the Banana Central. Everything else is like, actually helps the VTSG's damage, so I might have to spend like little bits of money on stuff like a Super Monkey. One thing I didn't take into equation is the fact that I have Vengeful Adora. I don't quite recall how strong she is, like, relative to the VTSG, but after I get 10 stacks, I will Ultra Boost her, and maybe I can skimp on some tiers if she does do a lot of damage. We'll see. Of course, now I remember Carver Garden sucks. I can only give one Ultra Boost stack, because that's the only round I can actually use them on. RIP. So we'll start with the safe run and then cut tiers from there. So, Perm Brew to start, sacrifice a Banana Central to get the buff, and now I'm gonna drop sacrifice fodder in the form of 1000 monkeys. I have to spend an extra tier on each sacrifice because the attack speed you get from Adora sacrifice scales with the cost of the tower up to 4k. Sadly, there is no 1-tier tower in the game that costs $4,000, so Monkey is the best option. I will drop the second and third one in different quadrants of Cover Garden because remember, I can't sacrifice if it's covered, so let's hope that's the right position for it. Bring it on. And here we go. First milli of damage went by pretty quickly, so I have pretty high hopes, needs to say. Yep, we're about to hit that first goal real quick. Now, that was with Homeland Defense. Now, without it, I'm a lot weaker. Called Arms. Use Ball Light off cooldown. It's been a hot minute since I used Vengeful Adora, and boy, is she pretty. What a goddess. Don't tell Sada I said that. Oh god, we actually died to 121? Okay, so the inside spawn DDTs? Wow, that bricked my run. Well, that's awfully unfortunate, but I think I have to put it on first, I guess. Unlucky. Is first really gonna save me, or did I just get unlucky that time? Because here, start at 121, look, we're completely fine. Or am I? Wait. Let's use Adora's level 3, that gives her more range, so maybe those bolts won't mess up. Okay. And so we can keep it on strong, that's good. No bricked run. Oh, we also lost Adora Sacrifice. Now, here's the shitty news. Every Super Monkey spot currently is under discounts. This is not good. I have to wait till round 123 starts to get the next buff, but I think this is too much time to wait. So 2 more tiers. Sacrifice this one. I think I might have to put one in this quadrant. So already one optimization I could have made there. I lost like 30 seconds of basically double attack speed. You saw how much we lost, how much DPS we lost during that time. Even despite that, I think this is overkill. We might be able to cut more tiers, maybe not even Perm Brew, because we're pretty much halfway now, which is far ahead of my pace. I might also be wrong about this, but I think Perm Brew only affects the main bolt attack, not the mini Sun Avatars, because when you click them, which I can't show you right now, it won't show an icon. And the thing is, they nerfed the VTSG a while back, where it won't spawn any more than 3-4 Dark Avatars. We also, the minute's up, so use the buff again. And from here, I think the only sacrifices I'm going to do are probably the other tower. So either this, any of the 4, really. Also, Adora's damage is really not great. All of this is coming from VTSG. Only 1 million from Vengeful. Anyway, if this is finally the end, let me just say good riddance. Because I know as much as you guys enjoy it, every time I post a boss tournament videos, you guys are always happy to see it because it's so much different than vanilla BTD gameplay and a lot more deep. And I like to hear that, as that makes it so my efforts don't go, I guess, wasted. Because again, I must stress like just how time-consuming optimizing bosses are. If this is a final week for me, then honestly, I'm fairly okay with finally bowing out. Let me, in fact, use the sacrifice on the Called Arms. I want to keep the P-Brew for the village, or for the range. Last call, don't die. Don't die, F-Bads. This could be spooky, but we're good. Anyway, back on topic, I think I need a break. I can understand why there were so many non-submissions by the end of the group stage, and that's because, again, to get a good score in these bosses and to advance, you kind of have to put a lot of time into each week, and even though 1 a week does not sound like much, it adds up. So after basically the 8th week in a row, spending hours upon hours upon hours, trying to figure out the best strategy, it really takes a toll. Ran out of sacrifice, but I think now it's time we sacrifice. Wait for it. I'm going to Ultra Boost. Oh no, I can't. Oh my god, the thing closed. Okay, here's what I'll do. Homeland? Ultra Boost again. Sacrifice to Homeland. I don't know. Crap. It doesn't even hit anymore because I lost range. Well, I actually think the military planes aren't going to be good enough to get us there. Wow. Well, I guess that was the difference of not having the boost for 30 seconds in the middle. I think it's time to stop live commentating, lock in, and I'll see you once I get my best run. That might even cut a couple tiers from 125 here. First off, back to tier 3 for a pretty big change. I was actually able to cut the entire Called Arms, saving 5 tiers. But to compensate, I did buy a cross path on the big plane for a little bit more damage. And because of no village now, I had to use 2 Super Monkeys to block both avatar spots, which is fine because one needs to be Dark Champion anyway. Now, skipping Called Arms also means that I technically don't have 50k of support sacrifices anymore, so I do have to buy 1 more tier for Monkeynomics. All in all, a 3-tier save from last time. Second last skull, incredibly tight, but we use Golden Justice on the Flying Fortress, so it catches DTs, and then, you know, good old Legend of Night Portal for the last skull. And now back on tier 5, I was able to get rid of the Perm Brew entirely. Turns out it didn't really add much damage in the first place, and 2 100 supers were still enough sacrifices. There was another interesting trick I did to squeeze out a little bit more damage. On round 122, I'm able to select some of the Sun Avatars again on that top left quadrant. So what I did was I used an Ultra Boost on one of the temporary Sun Avatars because technically the VTSG already has Ultra Boost, so if I use it on 2 targets, it's only not gonna have the Ultra Boost for like 10 seconds. And so that like 60 seconds of that one avatar being Ultra Boosted is quite a bit of extra damage on the table. And now on round 125, I have my Ultra Boost back up again, but I'm not going to refresh it immediately on the VTSG, nor am I going to use it on a mini Sun Avatar. I'm waiting because my 4th Adora stack is going to be on the Ultra Boost. I don't want it on the villages because, you know, Sun Avatar spots would disappear. But what I'm waiting for is Adora's attack speed to go away, and then once that goes away, immediately Ultra Boost again, sacrifice it. This way, I get the longest uptime of Ultra Boost, because if I refresh it immediately, then it would overlap and I would have less Ultra Boost uptime by the end. Which, let me say, did make a difference because things are incredibly tight. After the 4th sacrifice runs out, I have to use Cold Arm to sacrifice that one immediately to regain the range so VTSG can hit. Unfortunately, by the time Elite Blooners went out of VTSG range, I still had 600k HP to go. Now I'm relying solely on Adora and the military planes to do damage, which was kind of nerve-wracking even with that much track length, but thankfully, eventually, we took Elite Blooners down with 116 tiers, so a 9 cut from the run I showed you earlier. Pretty good, and despite me believing there were probably ways to cut one more tier, I was done. This is my final submission. Now it's time to see how I fared against all the other contestants, and of course, most importantly, my opponent. Even though we only had 5 runs of the 7 remaining contestants, here are the top 3. Number 1, who would have guessed it? It's Jandalf at an insane 96 tiers. Number 2, at 115 tiers, is Lendoli, who unfortunately is against Jandalf in the bracket round, so he's out despite getting the 2nd highest score. Unlucky for him. With 2nd place being 115, that means number 3 is either me or Pytrek beat me by 1 or in a tiebreak. 3rd place goes to Pytrek at 115. Yup, somehow through all those tiers, I lost by 1. A single tier. Not only that, but I would have beaten him in a tiebreak if I saved 1 extra tier. I'll talk more about what could have been done after, but first off, let's take a look at how Jandalf was able to cut off so much out of everybody else. Well, a lot of the save came in tier 1, which is what I struggled with. He was able to find a tower that could be used as a sacrifice for tier 1 while defending Lunaries' insides and doing all of its HP, and that was the Inferno Ring. He gets that up after getting BRF so that he can greed more, and the 50k to buy that doesn't cost him too much. I completely overlooked that as something that could work, so well, yeah, great job to him for figuring that out. And also, one important thing that I noticed while watching Jandalf's run is that he utilized some absolutely ridiculous covered garden mechanics. One thing I didn't even realize was the fact that even though the BRF is behind the cover, if you put it far enough to the side, you can actually still overclock it because I guess the farm hitbox is big enough. Literally using wall hacks, or in this case, cover hacks. Had I known that, maybe a lot of things would have changed. Anyway, just briefly going over the rest of the run, he gets a mad for tier 2, and then the temple, just like I did for tier 3, and blah blah blah, but his temple is not on the side. In fact, every other player put it under the cover. I was the only one that put it on the side. In putting it in the middle, he doesn't need called arms. It was just obviously a lot more annoying not having the VTSG on the side, because then you can't overclock it when you need to, but he was still able to get 10x Ultra Boost stacks on it. Additionally, there's a lot of bugs on this map that I didn't even realize, but Jandalf did. So all that info was pretty interesting, especially 16. What Pytrek did for tier 1 was also a first strike, but you might notice that he doesn't have any balloon defense. And why is that? Well, this is because there was a bug involving Bloonari's children. What he did was he timed the first strike so that a new round starts when the ceramics spawn, and then when he reloads back into the round, these spawns are gone. Before everybody goes, wait, that's unfair. That's an abusive bug, which it is, but the organizers specifically stated during the round that such things were allowed, and I knew that was a thing. I just, didn't think I could pull off the timer required to do first strike 5 times. Not to mention, I think my spots all being at the beginning, all towers being at the beginning, made it harder to time first strike properly. So, yep, that ended up being the difference. Tier 2, he got a Ray of Doom. Tier 3, he has a lot more money than me because it seems like he sold the Ray of Doom. That cost him a lot of tiers, but not enough to lose. as again, he finished literally 1 under me. He also used the 100 Super Monkey Sacrifice. Seemed like pretty standard knowledge. We are now down to 4 players, and I am officially out of the tournament. This is probably the last video you'll see of me from about this, because this current week's is a timed vortex. And you know how much I despise timed, even though I know you guys enjoy all this content. I definitely would have played the rounds even if I was out, if I was knocked out earlier than this. But I think I'll save myself the 20 plus hours required this week in order to get a good time. Low-key losing by 1 is a blessing in disguise for my sanity's sake. Anyway, what could I have actually done to cut 1 tier? Well, there were a lot of places. I'll leave them all on the screen here. Ultimately, I think cutting even just 1 tier probably would have added several more hours of theory crafting to get it to work. And again, this is without knowing my opponent's score. Usually, it doesn't come down to literally 1, but what are the odds? To cap this all off, I would like to thank the organizers of this tournament for putting everything together, because this amazing content wouldn't be possible without them. Hopefully with positive support from you guys, they'll host another tournament again at some point, but until then, this'll do. And once again, if you missed any of the boss tournament episodes, I highly recommend you check them out. All of them were interesting in their own right, and offer something you never see in vanilla bosses. Thank you for making it to the end, and goodbye forever.